Hello, Hasbro Pulse Premium fans, and welcome to our third 1027 event. My name is Emily, and we are here in our photo studio at Hasbro's Newport Ave building, which is on, that's right, 1027 Newport Ave. Matt from our Pick Your Adventure segment at PulseCon is behind me working on an incredible G.I. Joe photo shoot right now that you may have seen a little bit about at London Comic-Con this weekend. So that's right, this is a pre-recorded segment because it is airing on a Sunday, and I am currently in London for Comic-Con. So this is kind of the wrap-up of my Hasbro Pulse social takeover for the weekend. So I hope that you have enjoyed seeing our adventures abroad and that you're excited for what's in store today. We love our Hasbro Pulse Premium 1027 event because it really gives us an opportunity to bring behind-the-scenes development details that you wouldn't find anywhere else to you, our fans. So we have a great lineup for you today. So you'll see on the screen kind of the order that we'll run through, but we will have segments from G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ghostbusters, Star Wars, and Marvel today. Because this is kind of a special circumstance, this is airing on a Sunday, we are going to hold pre-orders to go live until tomorrow. So that is Monday, October 28th. So starting at 1 p.m. Eastern time until 2 p.m. Eastern time for our Hasbro Pulse Premium members exclusively, and then opening up at 2 p.m. for all other fans. So if that sounds good to everybody, we are going to get started with G.I. Joe. Hey, Lenny. It's so nice to see you today.
Yeah, good to see you too.
You excited to talk about G.I. Joe?
I am very excited to talk about G.I. Joe.
Excellent. Well, great news, Hasbro Pulse Premium fans. We have a little something special for you today. So you got a chance to talk with Josh Williamson.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Who, if you don't know, is one of the absolutely incredible authors working on our Energon universe over at Skybound and all of our wonderful kind of G.I. Joe comics. And you got a chance to talk with him about specifically the character that we are having as our 1027 exclusive item for G.I. Joe Classified series.
Yeah, and it was a great conversation to kind of get into his head of like how he introduced him into the comic and just the you'll see the conversation. It's really, we talked about a lot of fun stuff, and it's just so exciting to talk about two other creatives about how in their medium and what they're doing. So hopefully you guys enjoy our conversation.
Perfect. And so the actual conversation went on for a little while because you were both excited, which is amazing. So the whole interview will be posted on our Hasbro Pulse social channels later. But for now, let's take a quick look at a preview of that interview.
Roll the tape.
Hey guys, I'm here with Josh from Skybound, the writer on the Energon universe, and we're here to talk to you about, in detail, Nemesis Immortal. So, what's going on, Josh?
Look at this.
Oh, I got glass.
Just showing off toys. Good, man. I'm so pumped to get this. Came in the mail. I was so excited because I had been looking forward to it ever since you guys revealed it. Like, I'm one of my favorite Joe characters, so I'm very, very excited.
That's awesome, man. It's one of my favorite too, and I think very fitting for us to talk about it as he made his way into the Energon universe in a very big way. I love the way you guys introduced him and his role. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, when we started working on this book, originally it was only going to be the Duke series and the G.I. Joe series, but as we started working, we started talking more and more about Cobra Commander and his role. And then when we knew we were going to use Cobra La, so the first thing, since I knew we were using Cobra La, I was like, dude, I need Nemesis. Like, I need him immediately. Like, I want to put this book somehow. And I remember I saw it in my head. I was like, 2-page spread, wings, like I could see it immediately. And it was like, how do I get to that point in the coolest way possible? And one of the things we really love is Skybound with the Energon universe is trying to be like unpredictable and trying to surprise people. And so it was like, okay, if we're going to have Nemesis Immortal, how are we going to do it in like the biggest, splashiest, like surprise way we can? And so we were able to like put him in disguise, looking like a human. And it was fun. Some people like figuring it out as we were going, but everything was up building to just that moment. Wanted that 2-page spread of just boom, there he was, wings, and then just super violent and just attacking the Dreadnoks. So it was like one of my earliest requests. I was like, I have to have him in this book as soon as possible. And then as soon as I saw the new design that you did for him, I was like, oh, this is going to be beautiful. This is going to be so cool.
All I'm going to say is thank you for being you, because as I'm reading that issue, because I didn't know, as I'm reading that issue, this dude with a beard, and I'm like, huh? I'm like, how are they going to do this? Is it going to be like, I don't know, like technological or whatever? And then it wasn't, and it was amazing when he just kind of, I don't know how much I can say, but like, it's just so metal. He's there,
Yeah. Well, that was always the thing, so much of Cobra Law is about organics and rejecting like metal and rejecting technology, right? So it was like, oh no, it has to be like basically a skin suit, like we knew we wanted a skin suit. But what the visual I kept having in my head, it wasn't just the wings, it was having the gauntlets coming out, like
spikes.
Yeah, that was the part I was like, oh, I want to see them come out of his elbows and like rip the flesh. And, so it was really much like, I was really approaching it like, how do I introduce him in the best way possible? And that's always been one of the things we've thought about a lot with the Underground universe and like your designs and everything you guys are doing with Joe is like, we want to make sure every character has the best introduction possible into the Underground universe. And so with this one, it was like, we put a lot of thought into this one. And it was really just, it's so cool. I love this thing so much, man. Like,
what's cool about what you're saying is it's making me, because when we were designing him, we were the same mindset, right? I was like, he's bioorganic, right? So like he's wearing a bioorganic suit or and it's a biotech. So like everything grows from it. It's like those scales on that undersuit, things like the chitin kind of like forms from it. So in the gory way that you had him reveal, just like brought it all to life. And it's like right spot on with how we're feeling about Cobra Law. Cobra Law needs to feel organic, tech, grown, fungus. I mean, even like this is dorky, but like I got chitin in my office, so like look at like how that's gonna grow, right? So it's like it's part of those fun things about the design job, where like you're kind of looking to see like what's gonna make this guy stand out, what's gonna make him read believable as that tech organic vibe without any like I don't know, it's kind of hard to say, like tech organic, its own vibe, but still feel Cobra Law like it was when we were kids, which I think that's what they were trying to get across in the old school cartoon, like all that like I don't know, like mollusks and spidery but yet reptilian stuff. I think you guys are nailing it with the with the comic itself, like just the way you guys approach Cobra Law in general. Like can we talk about that a little bit? Actually, I feel like that really relates to this.
It was interesting because we were like, we wanted to keep Cobra Law secret. And so when you open up Cobra Commander for the first time, the first things you see is sort of like Cobra Commander kind of dressed as like Old Snake going to the bar. And we kept telling people like, oh, it's going to be like a kind of a horror book. It's going to be kind of weird. Like I didn't know how to describe it to people at times because I was like, I knew we were doing something different, unique with it, but we were really trying actively to keep Cobra Law a secret. And so it was one of those things where it was like, we're going to open very grounded and then have this 2-page spread of like, boom, Cobra Law, and really have this crazy design for it. And then talk about like, making it so that we had like, you can kind of see a little bit of Cobra Law that you didn't really get to see in the movie, right? You get to see little different pieces of it, because that's the thing, like in Cobra Law in the movie, you do spend a lot of time there in that movie, but it's so much focus on just kind of like the action of it all. With this, I was like, no, we want to kind of see like, not in the middle of a fight with Cobra or a fight with G.I. Joe. It's like what they're normally like. And so we just put a lot of work into that. And then, the artist, Andrea, he came in and just like, he got it immediately. He got the weirdness of it. He got how it's supposed to be like a little creepy, a little gross. Like it's supposed to like feel like a place that would get under your skin, And so he really put work into that. And so, when we started talking about some of our bigger ideas and the role the Cobra Commander was going to play and the Globulus was going to play, and then definitely with Nemesis Immortal, we were like, okay, how do we make this like a little shocking, a little gross, and then definitely like a little bloody with it, right? To like just keep on amping it up.
So, Nemesis Immortal, this guy is bonkers.
Yeah, he was, he's different.
But in like
he's built different.
But in a that way where classified series can kind of push forward the original G.I. Joe designs from the 1980s. I think that this is an incredible example of bringing one of those characters kind of into modern day in a way that I know a lot of people have feelings about the G.I. Joe movie, but like this is so cool that when you see this figure in person, you are not going to be able to resist.
First, it was an honor to be able to do that, right? Like I love the G.I. Joe movie as a kid, and I love monster design, so it was like such a pleasure to jump in on this one. And speaking of that monster design, I could take you through some of the thinking here.
That'd be great.
So in the cartoon and in the toy, they actually had two different designs. So when I started on this guy, I started from the toy, as we talked about in the video, and then we kind of took it from there. We tried to reimagine what is how's he going to work, right? So he's basically wearing, or he's grafted onto him, this kind of like scale suit. And the scale suit is actually growing the armor out of it.
Cool.
So that's how you're seeing all these carapaces on there, and the chitin or chitin that grows off of him. And we wanted to play that up.
What's a carapace for people who aren't familiar with this term?
A turtle shell is a carapace.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a very helpful explanation.
Yeah. Dorky. So let's spin him around so you guys can see. So we wanted to play that up across it, but again, he's got this like biotech going on him because he's from Cobra Law. Globulus has designed and created this ultimate weapon of a creature. And as you can see, it's DNA pulled from all different types of animals, even in the bat wings. Maybe I'll turn it around again so you guys can see it. But there's like almost like a crab lobster kind of like chitin on the bat wings as well, because it's a mix of creatures to make this ultimate weapon. Speaking of those, we have articulation in here. They actually spin as well, so you get some cool posing out of it.
Oh, good. You thought of everything.
We want to get it all in there. And actually, they're butterfly joints on the shoulders. I don't want to mess it up right now, but so they'll actually be able to flap, which is really cool
Incredible.
looking.
So for people who are doing stop motion with our figures, you can get some very cool stop motion out of them. Perfect.
he could fly on in. So yeah, we want to play that up again. So it's a lot of like deep diving into animal anatomy and playing around with it and how it could look on Nemesis Immortal. If you guys remember in the cartoon, he had a little bit more of a sleek design. I would imagine that was for animation purposes back then. We wanted to play up the toy design. It had a lot of like this kind of like armor and like this like knobby bits all over it. We wanted to make it more grotesque in that sense.
It's so interesting because there's a lot of G.I. Joe figures, you kind of have your standard military, and there's textures that you expect to find on those figures. This is a mix of so many different textures and kind of finishes that it's really visually interesting to look at up close too.
Well, yeah, it's a nice deviation from the line. My sculptor Matt and I were like super pumped to do this item. Like I'm doing the input for it. I'm like, oh, this is like, it's like, I love every G.I. Joe, as I've kind of like framed.
Everybody's your favorite.
Everyone's my favorite, but there's something nice about doing a different texture. And to that regard, we even made, though, if you look at the wings, they're kind of transparent. So we wanted to play around with different textures, different sheens, different transparencies, essentially. Let's see, other things we could talk about.
Tell us about our green friend.
Oh, so if you guys remember, on the original toy, it came with this octopod, a cephalopod creature thing, and I wanted to give him a pet, essentially, that was based on that. The cool thing about that is, and I think I'll bring him out to here, the cephalopod actually goes on his back like the original toy. We wanted to kind of bake that in there, but in its own way. And every single one of the arms has a bendy wire in it. So you can like bend it around, have it grab onto other Joes, which
Amazing.
I think kind of gives it this extra level that it had the bendy wire back in the day, but we were able to kind of push it. And we redesigned the anatomy so that the bendy wire would be more rope-like. So super fun to get that in there. And I think it's pretty successful. It's pretty crazy looking, but I think that's what we're going for here, right?
Absolutely. And I think that, as we have talked about so many times, there's really nothing that is off limits for classified series. And I think that this does a really cool job of showing kind of how you can continue pushing forward into some of those later stories and some of those wackier characters, but still have them really feel like they belong in classified series.
Oh, 100%. It's a great challenge, too, as a designer and development team. It's like, how could we bake it into our line and have it still work? Still has to feel classified, and I think we're there. And we again, like with classified, where we're zhuzhing and upping things a little bit. Like we talked about in the video a little bit, but we wanted to figure out what's the purpose of his gear. So like all the chitin you could see growing off of it. So that's where you're seeing a lot of this different gear. Like his knuckles are literally like, if you ever had the pleasure of eating a lobster, they have all the spikes all over him. So his knuckles actually have the lobster spikes all over the front of him because he's very vicious. And then the alternate head is kind of like a war form. We talked about it in the video a little bit, but like he can grow more chitin and he needs to protect himself. So he's going to take a fall. He needs more chitin, or he needs to headbutt Sergeant Slaughter. And this time around, Sarge, you might have trouble with that head. But yeah, so it's really fun to work on. I mean, we also got into like, again, that like cephalopod and that like anthropod kind of like armor, like you would see on like a spider or like a crab, like with the swords. We wanted to bake that in there too. But again, getting a little bit more like like a reptile claw on it.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of DNA.
And it's really cool when you have I don't know if it's easy to see from that angle, but when he actually has his swords in his hand with the piece that is growing off of his forearms, like it's a very cool kind of effect as well. Oh yeah,
He'll get you.
He looks like he means business.
And there's something else I think I want to show everybody. So the wing backpack, we also looked at that as like a pet. So the idea was to do like this filthy daddy long legs crab creature thing. That I think it works for Cobra Law. So you can pose it out. So essentially, if you have his cephalopod on his back, you can have.
I love every part of this.
I haven't come up with a word like mammal crab.
We'll workshop that.
Bat crab or
bat crab.
Yeah. Batrapod, batrapod on the side of him like this, and they can I can imagine like crawling around all fast and jumping on stuff. So we went ham. We made it gross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what this character called for, and that's the fun part of working on G.I. Joe Classified.
Yep.
We get to dive into what the thing is, and in the case of this, like we really dove in and kind of had a blast doing it.
And I think that what I am hoping is that everybody at home, much like myself, will really appreciate all of the thoughtfulness that you put into this design. This was not just we think this looks cool, we're going to do this, but here is all of the kind of logic and reasoning behind why we decided to add all of these things, which is
makes sense.
It's perfect. It's just like the rest of the classified line. Yeah. It is a building upon existing G.I. Joe lore to bring it into modern day.
I mean, going back a little bit, it's not dorky, but I mean, like, I remember the old school toy had these like white things on the side of his legs. I'm like, what are those for? And that's actually where the swords were born from.
Oh, perfect.
So that's kind of the fun part about doing a lot of like reinventing some of the old school designs from 40 years ago. You look at it, and as a kid, you imagined something at the time that it probably had. But now as a designer and as an adult, you can be like, okay, what is the logical thing that can take somebody else's imagination somewhere else? And how can we expand on that?
And so while we're here, make sure you are checking out our photos that Matt took for us of this item. I mean, these pictures are beautiful.
Yeah,
and
really
I think
cool.
Really speak to kind of what you can do with this figure at home.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
It really brings it to life.
Yep. So thank you so much for joining us for our G.I. Joe segment today. So Nemesis Immortal, again, is going to be available starting at 1 p.m. tomorrow. So that is Monday, October 28th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Hasbro Pulse Premium members and 2 p.m. for all other fans. Thank you so much again to Josh Williamson for his time and all of his contributions and the love that he is putting into the G.I. Joe universe.
It shows. It's awesome.
It really does. And if you haven't gone to check out any of the amazing new G.I. Joe comics from Skybound, make sure you are picking those up.
They're incredible.
Because you want to follow along on that story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, should we do a Yo Joe?
I think we should.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yo Joe! I mean Cobra. La 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 la.
Welcome, Transformers fans. Thanks so much for joining us on the 1027 event. We have some incredibly exciting news to get into. I know last time at PulseCon, we're pretty rushed, but we've got plenty of time. It's just me, Nate, and Evan. Of course, we're going to walk through, of course, Devastator. Everyone take a deep breath. We finally made it. I know it feels like an eternity ago where we first announced that we were doing Devastator all the way back at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
And then we said 1027, which was a month ago. So we know you guys have been patient. So thank you very much. So we're going to get into Devastator, get into some really nitty gritty details. So pay attention. But first, before we get into Devastator, we're going to hand it over to Mark, who's going to, I think, reveal the very first products from Age of the Primes. We showed you the logo at PulseCon. Take it away, Mark. Take it away, Mark.
Hey, Transformers fans. Mark here. We are at Hasbro HQ on Main Street in Rhode Island at our special 1027 event, and we are going to be showcasing to you a special insight for our 2025 line, the Age of the Primes. So the 13 Primes, as everybody knows in the Transformers fandom, hopefully you saw them featured in the Transformers 1 movie, but as Sentinel Prime did say in that movie, Megatronus, the coolest Prime. Everyone loves Megatronus. So here, featured in our leader segment, is Megatronus. I actually worked with Yuya-san and Takara Tomy. This guy came out of this world. I couldn't be more pleased with how he came out. So Megatronus, As you can see, he is featured with his Requiem Blaster. The Requiem Blaster also showcases his unique identification symbol that was featured in the Power of the Prime segment a couple of years ago. The Requiem Blaster is so powerful that it sucks the power from black holes and actually can blow away planets. So because of that reason, we actually put a suppressor on the nozzle of the Requiem Blaster to be able to focus a little bit of a less powerful beam. As you can see, it also doubles as the turret for this wicked tank mode. Some of you do remember from back in the day the Dreamwave comic series where the Fallen did show up in that series, and this guy really does aesthetically look like that kind of Transformer, but we did take in a couple other versions of Megatronus, and that was definitely really fun to put in the Spark Fuser staff here, and it also comes with his double-sided machete. It's featured on the side of the tank. The tank also has his rolls, his little wheels, so you can wheel this thing around. A lot of play value. Didn't even get to the insane flamed out blast effects. So the flamed out blast effects, they're all on 5mm ports, as most of our stuff is. Those are done in translucent. As you can see, the colors came out great. As we said in PulseCon, his Energon is so powerful it ignites. And I just think that that's such a cool feature for this character. I also want to showcase the packaging for this beautiful guy here. So as you know, Megatronus is also the god transformer of the 13 that Megatron has kind of embodied his spirit. But as you can see, this packaging came out really, really delicious. I cannot wait to showcase all the other 13 primes for you guys. These really came out of this world, and I can't wait for you guys to collect them all, have all the 13 artifacts, and really, for the first time ever, collect all 13 primes. I'm back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Mark, so much. We've seen that Megatronus internally multiple times.
Couple times,
figure is incredible.
Yep.
I love what that team is doing, him and BMAC on the Age of the Primes line. There's so much more coming, so we're incredibly excited about this one. But we're here for Studio Series.
Yes.
More specifically, we're here for Devastator 86. We're finally here. Let's get into it. So who do we want to do first? I think it's probably obvious who we should do first.
We have to start with Scrapper. So we're going to start off with Voyager Scrapper. The leader of the Constructicons.
Now, this is not final. This is our EP2.
This is our EP2. So colors are not final on this guy. We're looking to punch up the green a little bit more. Things of that nature. But so far, he's coming along very nicely.
No, these look incredible, and we're just going to show off two of the figures. The first wave, we're going to get into exactly, like I said, into the nitty-gritty and give you guys some milestones to really mark your calendars. We want to be incredibly transparent for how we're going to unveil Devastator, but what do we got here? So talk to me through some of the accessories here.
Well, so accessory-wise, obviously, one of the big things from the last time we released him, he's got elbows. And he also has his blaster, which these were accessories that weren't included with the Titan's Return version that we did previously. So Hisui-san worked on this with me, and he did all the heavy lifting. Actually, funny story. So when they were over here last and we were out to dinner with them and we were talking like, oh yeah, the next combiner should probably be Devastator for Studio Series. And he's like, yes, okay. He immediately started designing it before we even kicked it off. And he was sending us updates like, okay, I guess we're going forward with this. So yep, one of the reasons I guess we need to talk about why Scrapper and also Mixmaster are Voyager scale is that unlike, we're gonna bring in the Stunticons and Menasor real quick. And maybe we'll show off a little bit more of this in a minute, but we had to build in a lot of the kind of combiner ankle joints into them, which is why that they're at a Voyager price point. So when he is combined, and maybe we'll show you something a little bit later, they will be able to support Devastator in his full body. Unlike our previous combiner, which had like a frame system and all the Carbots had to do was just kind of attached to the back. These guys kind of do a little bit more heavy lifting and quite literally support Devastator. So that's why he's a Voyager scale. He also comes with Devastator's blaster, which can break into two pieces so that he can also hold them. But yeah, the bucket lifts. Oh, sorry about that, Scrapper. Bucket lifts, locks in, transforms, great. Yeah. Should we move on to, I guess, the next one?
Yeah, so this is our first Voyager in our first wave. Now, first deluxe.
First deluxe is going to be Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher.
Which, funny story with Bone Crusher, he was actually my first Constructicon when I was a kid. And they were rewards for good report cards back then. So here we have Deluxe Bone Crusher.
Also an EP2.
Yep, also EP2, so we'll be pumping up the green color on this guy. Obviously turns into a bulldozer. So you can lift up the shovel and push it around, things like that. He becomes the arm for Devastator, which you can kind of see on his back. So this is essentially the elbow joint for Devastator. The other limbs and the actual hand will come with our commander, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But yeah, I don't know if there's too much else to add on to him. Obviously, he's got elbows and he's got a blaster, which were missing from the original, I think. Well, that one might have had elbows, but he definitely didn't have his blaster. So we're happy to get him in there. Scale-wise, actually, you know what? I probably should just leave Scrapper on up there. So we'll bring up the Commander Optimus. Then we're going to bring in...
Back so you can really get that scale.
And we'll bring in Scrapper as well.
There we go.
Just so you can kind of see. Essentially, height-wise, they're the same size as Voyager, Ironhide, and Ratchet. So, which canonically is correct to the scale chart, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's why we did them at this scale. But yeah, I think maybe, though, we should probably show them something a little special.
Before we get there,
Okay.
we've mentioned it a couple times how we're changing the packaging.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So we're going back to clear window packaging. I know that has been a pain point. Thank you for your patience on this. We get it, but we're incredibly excited to show you the early comps. Bear with us. Again, we're ahead of a tentatively April on shelf date is what the first two characters are going to come out with. But we have some early packaging comps. Again, we are so excited to go back to plastic window. No more pilferage, no more swapped heads. So here are, again, Scrapper and Bone Crusher for the first wave in the beautiful clear window packaging. So you're going to get this for all the deluxes and all of the Voyagers across all of Fan beginning in, again, subject to change, but targeting April on shelf day 2025. What we're calling the Commander one is really just the price point, which is, as rumored, yes, it's true, it's going to be a 2 Voyager multi-pack. We're really excited about this. And actually, if we can pull up the milestone slide. Great, so thank you. So you can see here, here's our first wave of April. Obviously, we already just discussed Voyager Scrapper, Deluxe Bone Crusher. Mm-hmm. Then next, coming in July on shelf date is, again, what we've been calling our Commander price point.
Yep.
But it's our 2 Voyagers.
Long Haul and Hook.
Long Haul and Hook coming together, and I think let's go ahead and get into some detail about what they're actually going to come with, because Commander price point, 2 Voyagers. It's not mathing, but why does it math?
Because essentially they form the entire upper body of Devastator and also his thighs, but they also come with his hands and arms and a few other accessories like his chest plate. Devastator has always been notoriously kind of a kibble combiner. Right. Like there was always been a couple extra pieces that had to be a part of him to convert. So that's essentially what's coming in that pack. And
you did an incredible job on some of the other conversion pieces that we're not going to get into right now to really get that extra value. It's a good value with the 2 Voyagers plus what else will be appeared. We're not going to get into it here, but that will be revealed at a later point.
Shout-outs to Hisui-san on that one, because that was, again, we were sitting over dinner, and I think we brought up images of like, oh, here's a dump truck pulling a trailer. What do you think about that? Yeah, and then a few weeks later, it's like, here's the design plan for it. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're done.
And it looks incredible. I was so confused when you first showed me. Like, I don't remember this part, but I think you guys are going to love it. It's really well done. Again, shout out to the Hisui-san and the Takara Tomy team. But then lastly, let's get into what is the September wave, and that'll be your last Deluxe.
Yep.
And then your last Voyager.
Scavenger, and then our last Voyager is Mixmaster.
Of course.
Yep. And that will complete them. And I think it's in is it a 4-month time window? Or it's like a 4 or 5 month?
I'm going to get into that. You're absolutely right. And thank you for reminding me. So actually, no, let's get into it right now. So I kind of want to take a moment we're humans, we're trying our best over here, and we know a lot of you Menasor collectors out there probably are still missing Breakdown. We're aware, we get it.
Yeah.
We know that's a pain point, and that is with those learnings from really kind of our first modern combiner that we've done at Hasbro in the last couple years, obviously in the Legacy line, we're doing everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen again. We don't want you guys having to pay 2, 3, 4 times X on the aftermarket to complete your figure. And of course, because we're not offering it all at the same time to kick it off, and there's 3 different launch times, we're very sensitive to that. We're going to do everything in our power. We've instilled some new processes, honestly, with our sales team to make sure that this is not going to happen again. So if you do invest with, for example, your first 2 figures right here in April, or the pre-order tomorrow, that you're gonna have the confidence that you're gonna be able to get all of them. Like that's really near and dear to our hearts, and that's, I promise you, we hate seeing where the heck is Breakdown, we don't want you then where the heck is fill in the blank Constructicon. So we're working tirelessly on that. We're going to make that happen. So stay tuned, but we are going to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure you get everything. You get 1, you want all 6, doesn't matter how you want to buy, but we're going to fix that. We're not going to have another Breakdown. So
not today, at least.
Not today. So from there, I think we're ready for.
We are. It's going to take some finessing. So, media crew, would you mind putting up some images of Scrapper and Bone Crusher while we get our big boy ready?
And I'm going to keep. Well, do you mind? Actually, let's keep the other 2 on there.
Okay.
Just so we get that scale, because I know fans are definitely going to want to see the scale. So while we're moving this, of course, and maybe this is a surprise. Hopefully this is a surprise, but I'll be honest. My initial reaction was like, no, let's hold back revealing the full Devastator. Evan was adamant, no way. We really want to make sure fans know exactly what they're investing in before they get into it. So we have, of course, Devastators, who we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
a little marketing drama here with the black with the black blanket.
Let's just make sure it doesn't fall.
Let's get him up to his mark, and let's just do it.
Okay.
You got him. Is he standing? He's ready to go. Ready for his big moment.
So this is a gray model.
Yes,
I want it. We should probably preface that first.
Yes.
So this is a painted gray model. His joints are going to be a little loose, but you're going to see size and scale. You're going to see what he finally looks like. So to be as dramatic as possible, here we go. Here is. Oh no, the mighty Devastator.
Move him right up here. So this is, as Evan mentioned, this is the completed gray model. Right now, the plan is to, similar if you were at Comic-Con this year where the G.I. Joe team released the HasLab in person, we thought fans loved that and really getting to see these premium products in hand, especially before you're making a big investment. We get it. This is a big investment to get everything together, and we want to make sure that you guys feel confident about collecting, especially when we're releasing it over a year. So when you get these 2, you feel really good. You know what you're getting. So here he is, and thank you very much, Evan, for bringing Menasor to get that scale, because I know fans are going to be asking about that.
Right, and that was definitely something that we wanted to do, is make sure that he was in scale with the other combiners. But Devastator himself is usually depicted as being a bit beefier than even though he is the same height as like a Menasor. He's usually a bit beefier, just because he's 6 guys, right? So yeah, here he is. I'm really happy with how his proportions came out. I know Hisui is as well. Yeah. I think he killed it on this design. It looks fantastic. Yeah, I guess, should we say stay tuned until we get in our other samples of Long Haul and Hook next?
Yeah, there's going to be, we're going to give you just a lot of updates as we're going along. Of course, we've got 2 more windows of pre-orders coming as well. But really this is really the kickoff. So we just want to make sure we're trying to be as transparent as possible. We want you guys to feel confident. Number one, that the figures are awesome. I mean, Evan and Hisui-san, you got no doubt, no concerns that they're going to knock it out of the park. And I think even if it's in gray, you can see clearly the sculpting details and how this is all going to come together is awesome. I mean, I think one of the first things I asked you when I came on the team like 2 years ago was, where's Devastator? When are we doing Devastator in 86? And so I love that you were so patient and bringing it in 2025 as we're building up to our 40th anniversary of the film.
Yep.
And 2026, which is wild.
Well, at one point in time, we were going to break them out over 2 years, and then we were like, no, we have to do them all in 1 year.
And yeah, in Minnesota, he broke over 2 different calendar years. I feel like the fan response was pretty tepid on that one, so we wanted to make sure this is all in 2025, can be completed in 2025, 1 calendar year, and that's really kind of going to be the way that we're going to do it for combiners, at least certainly for the foreseeable future.
Certainly what we're going to try and do.
But
I guess you're hinting at more combiners, so stay tuned for that. Okay.
There's always some kind of like whoopsie.
Yeah. Well, no, just a little Easter egg. It's fine. It's not a
Yeah, a
whoopsie.
little Easter egg. There's 0 Easter eggs elsewhere in this room. So, I know. I mean, what else? Anything else we want to
I think that's going to cover it for these guys today.
Yeah, I think so. One thing I did want to cover, kind of back to what we're doing in 2025 that's going to be different than in really in past years. So typically across Age of the Prime, or typically in Legacy, Age of the Primes, and Power of the Primes before that, we have 4 waves per year per scale, for Deluxe, Voyager, and Leader. Now, what that did was, our case pack of Deluxe is 8. So we can fit 8 figures into a case pack. It's 3 for Voyager and 2 for Leader. So we only have a certain number of slots that we can use, but the way to fill out, 32 slots out of 4 waves, and you guys are probably aware, we had repeats. So you have, let's see, like Rise of the Beast, he was on shelf a long time. So Rise of the Beast, Bumblebee in the movie year, so 23 feels like an eternity ago, he was in 3 waves. And obviously he's one of our biggest selling characters, so we want to make sure he's out there. But in 25, we're going from 4 waves to 3 waves. So what that does is it extends the on-shelf date for 4 months from 3 months, but it also makes sure that we don't have, in Studio Series, we have 0 repeating characters. Wave 1, all unique characters. Wave 2, all unique characters. Wave 3, all unique characters. So we're incredibly excited about that, making sure the waves are even stronger.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to go back to the wherever you're buying your figures and say well, he's still there. They launched him in another wave, so we're doing away with that. But to that point, Bone Crusher, Scrapper, they're in that first wave. They're not coming back for the second wave. We're not going to repeat them in there. Again, just really maximizing the newness, but with a little bit longer on-shelf time. Mm-hmm. So I did want to make sure I mentioned that because I think that's, when you're planning out your collection and your wallet share, we want to make sure that you have all the information that we're able to share. And I think that's, hopefully you appreciate that transparency and what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah. And something else that you had mentioned is that we're going to try and not do an immediate gift pack of these guys,
Correct.
At least within the first 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So
that is still true because we really want this to be a fun collecting experience. Again, Minnesota was not as fun for a lot of people. We totally get it. We are trying to fix it.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of what we got for today. Before I forget, obviously, when can you pre-order this? So
that's a big thing.
That is a big thing. So October 28th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Hasbro Pulse Premium Members, and then it opens to everyone at 2 p.m. So we get the exclusive hour window. I feel like I'm always going to forget the pre-order window, which is like the most critical piece of information. So I got that out there. So that'll be Monday. So obviously 10/27 being on a Sunday, you have to wait for the very next day. But I'm trying to think. Hopefully we shared all the bits of information you guys are curious about and what we have for now. We'll have some social assets that are going to be coming out. We're going to have a social post that's kind of be like a quick little baseball card of like the on-shelf date, so you can really track that and make sure you're kind of marking your calendar. Like, I know when this is coming. I know when to hunt for it. Or, of course, when we have the pre-order dates locked up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think. It's a little surreal. I literally was like barely sleeping last night just thinking about how exciting this was and like what we were going to talk about. And so,
were you nervous?
Yeah. Well, just more so. I mean, truly, just really exciting.
It's exciting to get him out there. Especially, there's been a lot of build up to this guy, especially for the first kind of 86 combiner in Studio Series.
Yeah, I mean, truly. So, and seeing just how incredibly well Ultra Magnus did, and obviously our boy Optimus Prime.
Yep.
But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the other incredible stuff that we have going on across Fan. So 2 other pre-orders that are live right now. If we can pull it up, we've got our Naruto collab, which you also were the designer on. And when we first were kind of kicking it off, it was like, Evan's a diehard Naruto fan. Got to get him out there. So can you give like a quick 30-second elevator pitch on the Naruto, and obviously the assets are out there. We have an incredible video. I am so excited the way that turned out. But
so it's not just me, but it was also Tomo-san, who was also a humongous fan, and also our engineer, Mike Booth, who was an incredible fan. And the moment this kind of trickled down the pipeline, it was like, I immediately know what we're doing. So obviously, any of our fans out there, he's a partial of Chidor. He turns into Kurama, who is the demon fox that lives inside Naruto for a very long time. And then also Gamakichi, who is a toad, might or might not be based off of the old Beast Wars Spidor mold. Who knows? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun working on that.
I absolutely love that one. So thank you to our partners of Viz Media. They're incredible partners to bring this to life, and love how we're able to do that.
Yeah.
Quick tidbit before I forget is it is only available in North America and Latin America as of now. Stay tuned. And then lastly, we have a partnership we did with our good friends over at Lucasfilm for Star Wars The Mandalorian. That pre-order is also live right now. That is the N1 Starfighter that turns into the Mandalorian.
It's very cool.
Really excited. Hopefully this wasn't too long, but I think it's nice to have, like, we had as much time as we needed. We got into the details we wanted to cover, and I think
if I was
that's
any more
covered up.
Transparent, I'd be clear right now. So, yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, we're just getting it out there. Everything's looking good and it's coming along. So stay tuned for further updates.
Absolutely. So just quick last reminder, 1 p.m., October 28th, Hasbro Pulse Premium Members pre-order go live, and then 2 p.m. for everyone else. And I think that's all we got. So thank you, Evan, of course.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Mark.
And everyone else on the team, everyone. There's hundreds of people that are really bring these to life. So thank you for everyone to making these look so cool. And looking forward to see what you guys are talking about, and any questions that maybe we can address for our next live stream.
Yep.
And until then, appreciate your time, and we'll see you out there.
Till all I want.
Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Hello, Hasbro Pulse Premium fans. So we are here for our Ghostbusters segment today. So that's right, it is still Ghostbusters HasLab campaign time. So we are almost 2 weeks into the campaign of our incredible anniversary edition Ectomobiles, and we are joined by some very special friends. Oh, I also forgot to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Emily. I work on our marketing team. I am joined by...
I'm Pat, graphics and one of the designers on this lovely project.
Perfect. And we are hanging out with our friends.
We are Yes Have Some Podcast, and we are so excited to be here and check this out. This is incredible. This is amazing, and I don't know, dreams come true. They do. Confirmed.
So thank you guys for hanging out to chat all things Ectos with us today. So we have been having a whole lot of fun working on this project, but we thought we would give you guys some opportunities to ask some questions. Maybe you had been asking on behalf of the fan community. So what are some of the burning questions we have not addressed in our Ecto HasLab campaign as of yet?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, this is amazing. I don't know which one to look at. To see them both here is like kind of taking me, I don't know, making me a little emotional. Is that weird? It's a toy, but this is what I care about more than anything.
We always get emotional over Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's not weird. It's dream fulfillment territory.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as questions go, I mean, I want to know more about like the design and like just kind of what went into bringing something like this to life, because seeing it in person, the amount of lights, we heard the sounds earlier, the amount of accuracy, like the historical accuracy, is beyond impressive. So I kind of want to know, as a fan, just like, what went into it? How did it even get off the ground?
That is an excellent question. So as viewers at home may know, we kind of do development a little bit backwards on HasLab campaigns. So we have been working on this project for a very, very long time. So it has been one of those kind of internal Hasbro secrets that honestly we started teasing like 6 months ago. So it wasn't even a particularly well-kept secret. But we knew that we really wanted to do something incredible for Ghostbusters fans that hadn't been done before. So we have heard your comments on Plasma Series. We know that you wanted more Plasma Series. And so the top 3 things that we really heard everybody saying is, we want ghosts, we want an Ecto, and we want Ghostbusters too. Mm-hmm. And so this was really a project that was assembled specifically to address all 3 of those needs. So we know that it's been a while since we have had new product for the Plasma Series line, but this is kind of our this is kind of the story that we wanted to tell, and we wanted to make sure that you were able to get all of it in one fell swoop.
Okay. I mean, it's amazing. Should we start with the Ecto?
Yeah.
Yep. Because it is like a story. It progresses to, obviously, Ecto 1A and Ghostbusters 2. It's kind of cool that GB1 and GB2 both have an anniversary, like a 35 and 40 in the same year. So fans have wanted a 6-inch scale Ecto 1 forever. It's never happened. It's really never even come close. It feels like you need an Ecto 1 with your Plasma Series figure. So like it makes sense, but what is the challenge of bringing this to the market? Like, because it is big and there is like an incredible amount of like research that goes into it. Like, was it more risky to do something like this as opposed to another item that, another prop or something like that? Is this more of a challenge overall?
Oh, this was
okay. Okay.
So from a development perspective, this is one of the most complex projects that we've ever worked on at Hasbro.
Okay.
The amount of electronics, the detail in both of the vehicles is kind of bananas.
Okay.
It has been a joy to work on, but holy smokes, has this one been complex. Pat, I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I have never seen more research go into a project in my entire life. The amount of spreadsheets, Word documents, folder structures, it was, there were pictures of every ounce of detail of the car. I mean, you guys know we worked with the Ectotech team, Greg and Kip and Marty, and they had so much research done already that they just sent us I think it was like 30 gigs worth of files for us to comb through.
Yeah.
And they had, it was just like, here's a fragment of a photo of a tail light. Like, please make sure you get this detail.
Yeah.
And, we would have conference calls and video calls with them where we would pour over every meticulous detail just to make sure, like, hey, what angle is this siren grill at? And it's like, okay, make sure it's rotated this way. This is supposed to be chrome. This is and we really made sure that every little thing that a lot of people miss when they're making an Ecto, whether they're making a real replica, some of the stuff that's out there on the market now, there's little details that get missed, they get overlooked. Our goal was to try and hit as many of those as possible with these cars. So really diving into the actual 59 millimeter, figuring out the ins and outs of that car. I'm pretty sure our product designer, Eitan, if he were to want to build a full-size car, nothing would stop him. I've never seen a guy get more invested in a car that he wasn't building himself.
That's amazing. So, okay, you talk about the accuracy, just looking at the overall package, because there are two offerings. So there's the standard package and the deluxe. So what is the advantage for fans to just have the all-in bundles versus the traditional stretch goals?
Yeah, so this is kind of a unique HasLab offering in that, we all know there have been no new figures for Plasma Series for the last 3 years. And so we really wanted to be sensitive to that. And so we ultimately did not want to make fans wait until we hit a 3rd tier unlock to know that you were going to get everything that you wanted as part of this offering.
Take some stress off it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of our way of saying, look, we understand. And so you can, as soon as we hit 12,000 backers across both of these offerings, you get everything. You get the whole story. You get this whole kind of world that we have built. You don't have to wait with bated breath for the whole campaign to be like, oh my gosh, am I going to get the last 2 Ghostbusters that I need to complete this set?
Right.
I've lost sleep. It's an instant collection.
Yeah.
For anybody who maybe didn't pick up the other figures,
Yeah.
they're just good to go.
That's a really good point. So even if you've never bought a Plasma Series figure before, maybe you're a casual Ghostbusters fan, or maybe you just never got in, you can even if you just do the standard set, you're going to get the Library Ghost and the Slimer. Can we talk about the ghosts just a little bit?
Yeah.
Because, Abby, we were looking at these earlier.
Full detail. Well, first of all, the translucence, the lighting effect on the ghost is absolutely gorgeous. Totally pops. Slimer, obviously, I love the attention to detail, all around, including the back, spinning them around.
We
for
can say
me.
butt, probably.
Yeah,
and it's
You could spin them around.
That's what I'm here for. I can do a little spin.
Yeah.
A little spin.
Yeah. But we've literally done whole podcast episodes recently. I think we talked about
breaking down every Slimer.
Breaking down every Slimer that's ever been sculpted, and You're pretty
Well,
opinionated.
well, I am, and that's where the work shows or the research shows, because there are so many Slimers out there, and so many of them don't quite look like what Slimer looked like. And now we have what I think is probably the best sculpt of a Slimer that's the most accurate to the film that we've ever gotten before. And that feels like a big deal. Like, we literally did just do a big episode,
Yeah.
you know, about Slimer specifically. So.
Yep. That's how we spend our time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing the research into making sure. I'm like, how many wrinkles does Slimer have above his shoulder? Like,
That's so
It's
funny.
important, yeah, and you
Yeah.
can tell your attention to detail with these. Like all the little nuances are just so.
Yeah. And then, so what I love too is the detail here on the gurney and the 4 proton packs. So, like, it comes with 4 packs and the gurney, correct?
So the deluxe
The
comes
deluxe
with the 4
does.
packs,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
the base also comes with the gurney. So
Okay.
if you have any of the other Plasma Series figures, those packs are compatible with the gurney.
Okay,
as well.
cool. So that's another cool thing, like, when you think about the deluxe, like, it's not just you get the Ecto plus the conversion kit, which is, like, also a real sign of, like, ingenuity. Like, hey, is there a way that we could, you know, maybe you just want to buy the deluxe and every 6 months switch it out or something like that. The fact that you can just convert that to that is blowing my mind. Like, and also, like, real talk, we just saw these for the first time 3 minutes ago before we started filming, and I'm really taken aback. I'm really impressed. Not even just as a Ghostbusters fan, but, like, as a toy fan. I'm sure car enthusiasts will you know, there's something here for everybody, because, like, I don't know if maybe there'll be shots, but, like, even the interior, there's just a lot of detail, like, way more than you would even really need.
Right.
But I guess that's what makes HasLab different than a regular release.
Yeah, it's the amount of detail both inside and out in the car. There are some kind of toyetic licenses that we had to take in order to, you know, get the figures to sit in the car.
Sure.
Because action figures don't necessarily bend like regular
Right.
human bodies do.
Right.
As you know, limitations of articulation and
They bend
whatnot.
like me.
But the amount of detail. So we're not necessarily calling this a prop replica, but this is a incredibly highly detailed toy that we have tried to make as accurate to the franchise as we possibly could.
We are all obsessed with Ghostbusters 2. Like, it is. Look, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I'm obsessed with the excesses of Ghostbusters too, and
Yeah.
like the lights and the sound, and like just how much is up on top of that roof. The fact that you were able to replicate that and have that, it's incredible. And having just seen it, like Greg said, it's identical.
yeah.
It's a maximalist dream.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Because, like, the second movie starts and they're back in business and they're like, let's just bigger, better. Like, even the logo, like, if you really think about it, like, logistically, doesn't really make sense that they would put that logo on their uniform, but it just means a lot. Like, it represents, like, a specific time in the Ghostbusters fandom that people are so fond of, and it's right around that time that, you know, the animated series was peaking and people were, like, really ready for that sequel to come out. So 35 years later to have this, it just doesn't feel like something that could be a reality, which that's the thing we keep talking about. Like, we've been talking about it all morning. Like, can you believe that this is a thing?
Right. To have them both at this scale, like already thinking about what my collection's going to look like and where I'm going to put these and how they're going to sit is just.
And the sideboards are really cool. How did you guys pull off that effect?
So there are 7 swappable LED signboards that we've got made with different phrases on them from the movie. You've got your "We're Back," Ghostbusters, For Hire, and you can really just customize it. They slide in and out. We're working to make sure that those look as movie accurate as you can. LEDs at that scale, to make those LED boards is a little prohibitive. So doing it this way we thought was the best way for customization and affordability for the fan community.
Cool. So this is built to convert from the Ecto 1 to the Ecto 1A. Now, if you convert it to the Ecto 1A, is the sticker sheet one and done, or can we convert back?
Ooh. That's
Excellent question. So we are
working.
working towards having them be kind of restickable. In theory, industry standard is about up to 5 times, but you can swap out the roof racks as many times as you would like, so there's no limitation to that. But
Cool.
the decal sheets are delightful and plentiful. It's been really fun seeing them come together. Yeah.
I like the idea of, like, every morning at 9 a.m. you're like, oh, Time to put my new roof rack on
Yep.
for my daily tradition.
That's the point.
That's awesome. Okay, good to know. So people have wanted Ghostbusters 2 Plasma Series figures since the beginning, right?
Yep.
Even when the first wave came out, like even before, new movies were coming and stuff, people were saying, we want GB2 Plasma Series. How fun was it to kind of bring them to life with like the charcoal uniforms? Then these are new face sculpts too, right?
All new head sculpts.
Okay.
Yep. And we actually removed the leg hose. Big thing that gets overlooked when Ghostbusters 2 is thrown around is that they don't have leg hose adapters in the charcoal suits.
Right.
So we worked with Ghost Corps just to double, triple, and quadruple check.
Sure.
But Eric over there is super nice and super resourceful. Was like, hey, yeah, that's exactly right. Get rid of the leg hose. So we did that, and then obviously everybody's been talking about slime blowers for a long time.
We've been waiting.
And there they are.
Great. The amount of detail on
And
those
they
slime
look
blowers.
great. The amount of detail on those slime blowers, and let me just take Winston here and give him a little rotation and hope that he doesn't fall apart. There we go. But the amount of detail on those the blower packs is fantastic. They look just like they look in the movie. And it's so fun to be able to have those as part of the collection too.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got these streams here that go with them. So, perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
It breaks up all the khaki.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta have.
One of the big things is how many guys in khaki suits do we need? In my personal opinion, all of them. But there are some other suits that deserve a moment in the spotlight, and being able to color match that charcoal exactly, which is also, I know in the fan community is tough to nail.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lifeguard puck that's on there too for the belt detail.
Yep.
Yeah, we really. Again, research. Our product designer, Eitan, has more pictures of the cast of Ghostbusters saved that, if he deleted them, his computer would get physically
Yeah.
I was trying to say, I would like to live up to that challenge to see who's got more Ghostbusters cast members saved in their
Yeah.
phone.
Well, as a fan and as people who have done costumes and been a part of the community, like having all those photos on you, that's just something that we're used to.
Yeah.
Like, constantly messaging
Quick
each
reference,
other.
quick
or messaging-
reference.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to talk about the full package here, but this is kind of a big deal, the Lewis Tully, right?
Yep.
So can you explain how we as people investing in this HasLab project are able to get our hands on this guy?
Yes, so Tully is part of our 2 weeks to Tully early bird offering. So that means that if we hit our backer goal in the first 2 weeks of the campaign, so that means that you have until November 2nd, so that's 12,000 orders by November 2nd, then everybody who buys one of these anniversary edition Ectos, whether the base or the deluxe version, comes with a Tully figure. So it's a nice little addition, and just as a reminder, in case you have not backed yet, we will not charge anybody's cards until the campaign closes. So that's 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 2nd. So if you are thinking about it and you're like, wow, you know what, I'd really like a Tully figure, you can just go ahead and back right now, and we promise we won't charge you until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 2nd.
That's something I like about HasLabs.
Yeah.
It's like a community event where you can back it early, you won't get charged, and you can help bring this guy to action figure form. Ghostbusters 2, that's like the funniest part of the movie. Like, how is this?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Yeah.
And we're all kind of in agreement that we think the Tully face sculpt is one of the best face sculpts that
Can
we have seen.
Let's take a look
Yeah.
at it.
Look at that. Ooh, yeah.
That looks great.
It's all good in here.
It's got the earmuffs.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
expression's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They're right.
Clean.
He literally
It's all-
saves the world in the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
That's true.
It's 100% just him, and he has no other help or anything.
Nope.
We threw a couple accessories in with him too, the PKE meter and the ghost trap. I know he doesn't have them in the movie, but he should.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so the one thing we've been talking about is like, if you get the deluxe set, you're gonna get the Ecto, you're gonna get the conversion kit, you're getting 4 figures, you're getting the Plasma Series Ghostbusters 2 figures, plus Library Ghost and Slimer, plus 4 packs, 2 slime blowers, 4 streams, 2 Ecto Charger streams, and the gurney. It's almost like a full accessory set too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
And
It's
so
a
much of
ton
it
of
is
stuff.
never
Best
seen
case
before.
scenario.
Yeah.
I have seen comments after launch saying this is the most like cohesive and deluxe HasLab there's been as of yet, and that I think that means something. I know it means something to me as a toy collector. as far as like the amount of value you get. So thank you for making this a reality.
Thank you. Those are the nicest things
Yeah.
anyone's ever said to me.
Cool. Was it just like we rehearsed before?
So I know that while we also had, it's a little bit hard to understand exactly how big these models are in real life because it's a little bit difficult to see. I believe we have an in-universe measurement device that we could potentially use in the form of a golden sponge cake.
Golden sponge cake.
Okay, we have 2 golden sponge cakes here.
Close these doors. We'll put it on this side. All right.
All right, so.
In comparison.
Wow.
That's a big ecto.
Yeah.
Big ecto. So, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute delight, and we are so thankful that you guys are excited about the project, and we hope that everybody at home is also excited about the current Ghostbusters Anniversary Edition Ectomobile HasLab.
Hello, Star Wars fans. Thank you so much for joining us on some 1027 reveals. We've done this for a few years now, so it's great to do it again. In fact, we're in a special location today, behind the scenes. Yeah, at the photo studio or video studio where some great work happens in the Hasbro office. So it's fun to just switch it up and do it somewhere new.
Absolutely, this is where the magic happens at Hasbro.
We have a few great reveals today, 2 for Vintage and 1 for Black Series. And before we get started, we're just gonna do a quick round of intros. My name is Jing, I work on marketing.
I'm Emily on our design team.
Yay, Emily's back.
Really good to be back talking toys.
Yay, we're so happy for you to be back. All right, let's get right into it and let's start with Vintage today.
Absolutely. So Jing mentioned that we have 2 reveals for Vintage today, and I'm feeling the Force with us because both will be Jedi. So our first Jedi came from our recent Star Wars show on Disney Plus, The Acolyte. We're introducing today Jedi Knight Yord Fandar. This guy is going to be amazing. He's a fully new tool with our latest articulation. And we're just thrilled all the time to bring new Jedi into the line, more lightsabers on your shelf. He's got such an interesting character in the show. He's really strict in his adherence to his Jedi code, and he confronted a Sith enemy in the show. And so we can bring that to life with this figure. We love the way that the High Republic robes are just bringing a new color palette into our Jedi, all of those cream and yellow colors. And also I really like how they have kind of an armored gauntlet. Really cool element to their designs. Yeah. So he's really fun. He's also got this removable robe, which I like because you can put him on any figure that you have in your collection.
Playability.
Yeah, it's just really playability. He's going to come with his lit and his unlit lightsaber, and that unlit lightsaber hilt can plug into his belt.
And honestly, Emily, you and the team did such a great job capturing the actor's portrait here. I think he looks amazing.
I think he looks just like him, so that's really always a fun element for us. Let's give him a spin. And this one is just a really fun one to get into the sculpture of his hair, to get into the sculpture of that actor's portrait, which we had amazing reference of. This has been an awesome one. And let's take a look, and we'll throw up an image of that packaging. He's so serious in this shot. I feel like he's about to give us maybe a lecture on the Jedi code.
Ah, maybe. I could see that.
I can see that. He's going to be VC 354. And so that's been Yord Fandar. We'll give him one more spin. And moving on to our next vintage reveal. Like I said, we have another Jedi for you today. This time it's from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney Plus, and that one is Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi Legend. So this is the very end of the show, and this is where you start to see Kenobi sort of going into his next era, his costume evolving. He's really equipped with goggles to weather those desert winds of Tatooine, and a soft goods robe without sleeves. Again, that vicious heat of that planet. So his goggles are able to be posed either around his neck, kind of hanging here, like you see on this figure right now. Actually, let's move this little lightsaber, and you can see that a little better. You can kind of hang his goggles around his neck, or you'll also be able to pose them on his head. And so let's take a look at this card back. We'll throw that picture up. This one, another serious expression for our hero. He's just faced so much.
Yeah, 1027 is serious business.
This is very serious business in our video studio today.
They came ready to play.
And this one will be VC 357. So both Yord Vandar and Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi Legend are mainline vintage figures. These are going to be available for you summer of 2025. That pre-order is going to be up starting tomorrow, 10/28, for both the Pulse Premium members and for our mainline retailers at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. For non-premium Pulse members at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Pulse site.
Okay, as promised, we have one more reveal for today, this time for Black Series. For our Black Series reveal today, it's definitely not a Jedi, but a formidable force in his own right, revealing Deluxe Savage Opress from Star Wars, The Clone Wars. This is amazing. I've been so excited for this one. Savage is a fully newly tooled figure. He's our first named Zabrak after Darth Maul. So a little detail there. Obviously, we've done Darth Maul, but love to get this one out. He's a big figure. He stands about a head taller than like a clone.
Absolutely. As a figure, this guy's really formidable, just like he was in the show.
Yeah, for sure. As for accessories, he comes with his dual-ended lightsaber similar to Darth Maul. This one does not split apart, so it's just one solid piece. He also comes with his large weapon, the pike, as you see here. Very intimidating. He has a soft goods skirt so that we can get better articulation for all those action poses because we know he's ready for a fight. He also has some weathering across his torso and his armor.
Yeah, it's just like the show. He always had a lot of texture across his armor and they've really matched it.
Yeah, I think it looks great. And quick look at the packaging. He is number 19 in the Clone Wars lineup in that deluxe size packaging. The team worked quite a bit on his side art as well to really get his expression right and on character.
We've got a look at that packaging right here.
Oh, we do, right here. Just to see that side art. He's serious too.
Absolutely serious today.
Savage is a fan channel exclusive available spring of 25. Same pre-order details here. Pre-order will be up starting tomorrow, 10/28 for Pulse Premium on Hasbro Pulse and fan channel at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for non-premium members at 2 p.m. Eastern on HasbroPulse.com. All right, so that was quick and easy, but some great reveals for Vintage and Black Series. So that's it for all the Star Wars reveals today. Thank you so much for tuning in for Hasbro Pulse 1027.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hello and welcome back to the Stuff of Legends Special Edition Hasbro Pulse 1027 Premium event. We got the Marvel Legends team, Ryan, joined by Dwight, and a special guest here in the middle with us today.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Jesse from Marvel was in the building, just so happens, and so we pulled him onto a stream because this is a premium experience, and it doesn't get more premium than Mr. Falcon joining us here today. How you guys doing?
Oh man, this is great to be here with you guys. It's been a minute, and I've never done one of these live streams before in this room, so this is very exciting for me.
We've dialed you in on a little computer screen, but now you're here with us in person. And no, Dwight did not travel back from London overnight. We are recording this in advance, so any...
Or are we?
Where are we right now? What time is it? So yeah, guys, we have a fun little show for you today. We're going to recap Sentinel. We're going to recap what you just saw, I think, yesterday at London MCM, and then we got a cool new reveal, brand new reveal for you to close it out. So we just wanted to recap these exciting past couple of weeks here. We launched the X-Men 97 animated Marvel Legends Sentinel at New York Comic Con. Jesse was there with me on the Hasbro panel, and then we had it on display in the Pop Insider booth. But here you see our prototype. We just wanted to have Dwight walk you through it since he wasn't at New York Comic Con. But yeah, like Dwight, what would you like the fans to know or emphasize to them about this amazing 22.2 inch tall Sentinel?
So New York Comic Con was in the past.
It was in the past.
Correct.
Okay.
But also in the future.
Oh, that's true.
It will also be in the future.
Whoa.
Dwight, what's your favorite part about the Sentinel?
I love the fact that you can make 8 different combinations of the Sentinel with the different extra pieces, the damaged crown, the damaged face, and the chest reactor, and the swappable components. You can mix and match to make 8 different variations of damaged Sentinel, which I think is kind of fun because I do know that some of you out there will want to have multiples on your shelves, and this allows them to be a little bit more personal and unique to your own collection and display, which I think is pretty fun. And we also added a little bit of backwards compatibility, which was kind of something that we really wanted to keep in mind. The hand repulsor blast effects for this one, which are 2 different variations, a large and a small, which are even the small is massive in scale. But the port will be compatible with your tentacles from the HasLab of 2021. Time, tricky. So if you have that, you have tentacles that'll work with this guy. And flip-flop ipso facto, these repulsor effects will also work with your old HasLab. So if you want to turn him into a master
Nice.
mold and stand up behind these guys, I know we're crossing universes with the X-97 to the comics verse, but you know, I mean, it's
They're
all
all
Marvel.
Sentinels.
They're all Sentinels. So, you know, you can have some fun with that, which I think is great.
Once you factor in the 2 different size blast effects and the tentacles, there's a lot more math if you want to start mapping those permutations out. It's
I'll
gonna get
have
complicated
to.
soon.
I need a sketchbook to do simple math, people, so it'll take a while.
So I don't have all the X-Men Legends samples from New York Comic Con with me, but I did bring just Nightcrawler here from the series, just to again show you the scale. As you can see, a standard 6-inch figure, you know, right up about to the bottom of his kneecap there. Even though this Sentinel is a little bit more compact to, say, a Galactus or the original HasLab Sentinel, still very large and imposing, and it's going to take several X-Men to battle each one of these Sentinels.
And Ryan, remind me again, how much is this amazing thing offered for?
The tremendous value can be yours for the low, low price of $174.99. It is up for pre-order now, and it will go through November 26th at 11:59 p.m., very late in the evening. So we got a couple of weeks to still get your orders in. And again, because this is a pre-order and not a crowdfund, you will be charged when the item ships, which will be late fall, you know, maybe around October in 2025. So there's a lot of other priorities going on. There is actually a Ghostbusters HasLab going on right now, and lots of Marvel Legends items out there in the marketplace, so you can plan accordingly. And if you want to get more than one, right, here's what that could look like. These have just been sitting in my office for a couple of days as we've been planning, but just for inspiration, right? These were some breadboard models we had made to make sure that it would fit in my display space. So.
Whoa, we're doing grayscale variants?
Who knows? Who knows?
Now, Dwight, if I'm an articulation junkie, and I am, how many points of articulation could I expect to see in something like this?
Well, if you break it down by Ryan's math, we have, and Ryan's much better at math than yours truly, we have 25 points per hand.
That's right.
Which is pretty impressive.
That
So
makes
there's 50.
50 just in the hands.
Just in the hands.
Checks out.
And the rest of it from toes, elbows, shoulders, knees, and toes. What do we have? What are we up to?
We're up to over 80 total points.
Wow.
And something that this model, because it's a static model, you can't see all of the cuts, but you want to just confirm for everyone, like boots, gloves,
Yes.
things that maybe you can't see from
Yeah,
this model.
there's a lot of probably lateral cuts on there.
Yeah, at these massive color breaks, you'll have a break line, and because this is an early model, there is not a thigh break here, but there will be one in production. And I did notice online over the last week, there's been some questions about how the torso works. And the torso for this guy is designed like our theatrical Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, which has the inverted curve that goes down into his belly, and this will be a soft, flexible belt in production, so his torso will be able to rock around left and right and kind of pivot. Like I said, this is an early model, so it doesn't work as well as it will in final, but if you imagine a hard torso with a soft belt, you'll be able to rock him forward, back, tilt him left and right to get some really dynamic poses for a figure that does not have the traditional ab crunch, because the design of this was so clean. We didn't want to start chopping through it if we didn't have to and break that look of that really nice animated form, which I'm very pleased with. And it seems like many of you guys were very, very happy to see this version of the Sentinel developed.
And all the detail too, when you've got a figure this big and this scale, you saw this with Giant Man, we're actually sculpting and decoing a lot of the details. It's not just painting things, so all these lines you see, the dark black lines, they're all sculpted in and painted.
Yeah, and there's also, Jesse wanted us to make sure that we, since it is a clean form, we wanted it to make it look premium, so there are different levels of textures that are going to be applied to the different colored breaks as well, so that when you get it in hand, if you have some of our previous HasLab figures, like Giant Man, which will be coming soon, so you probably don't have that one yet, but you do have potentially Galactus and Sentinel. We try to add different textures to the different breaks and colors so that it looks more real and more real world as opposed to just a clean, smooth thing.
It's an old toy maker's trick to whip out the old Yixang texture plates and zhuzh up your
Absolutely.
sculpts.
Zhuzhin yet to be applied.
He knows all the tricks over all the years.
Oh, listen.
He created the tricks.
Well, this was when we did the first Sentinel, Build-A-Figure.
I still did chef's kiss for that
Lovingly
one.
sculpted by Dave Cortez. It came in and pulled out those plates, and we were like, ooh, let's do this, and that. And in fact, we just were downstairs looking at the Build-A-Figure for the new Marvel Red Brick Wave.
Yes.
Which we won't talk about in great detail here, but we used a lot of those textures on that as well.
Absolutely.
Teasing future items for a later fan stream.
Yeah, it's a great Build-A-Figure.
All right, so that here you have the recap of the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Sentinel. Get your pre-orders in. You don't want to miss out on your opportunity. And we hope you guys like it. Let us know if you have any other questions in the meantime, but we hope to see him in all the collections next year. All right.
I'm excited for it.
I'm extremely excited. What else? What other things are we going to do for X-Men 97, guys?
Is there any left? Are there any characters left?
Maybe we should just make some more episodes.
Okay. Yeah, send that feedback back. We want
great.
season 2. We want season 2. Okay.
Let's take it to the courts and and battle it out
Great.
and see what happens.
Excellent.
And with that, we're going to switch gears to a new topic. As just shown yesterday at London MCM, we were going to take a look at the Captain America Brave New World Marvel Legends reveals, and we have 3 items to take a look at there. All right, so let's take a look at the Captain America Legends figures coming out for the new film. Dwight, you probably just walked all of our friends in London through them yesterday, but why don't you just recap for anyone who maybe didn't see the London MCM coverage yet?
Yeah, yesterday in the future, we went through these and the crowd was just, bonkers. It was awesome, I think. I hope.
Yeah,
we'll see.
we heard the screaming from all the way across the ocean.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it's great.
impressive.
Congratulations.
That's an echo through time and space.
Yeah.
So what we have here for Captain America 4 are our 3 awesome new movie figures, all kind of deluxe, massive things. We have Sam over there with his wings, shield, alternate mask, hands. We have the Red Hulk in the center, which is massive, as he should be, with some amazing chest hair, by the way.
Yeah, it really looks great.
2 alternate expressions and gripping and punching hands. And then my favorite in the wave is actually Falcon. I just love how this figure turned out. Once again, alternate fully closed and half open mask. He comes with a red wing, his wings that he can actually grip and fully pose. And we did a lot of learnings on these 2 from our earlier winged figures that were our first venture doing this, and they worked well.
Yeah.
These worked great. We were able to take learnings from those and rework the internal structure of them so that you get more movement and more playability. So you can have these things pose out in front of the characters to become shields, as they were sometimes depicted in different pieces of entertainment, as well as different flying poses and angles. So,
and when you say previous figures, you're talking about characters like the Vulture and then the version of Falcon.
Absolutely.
That Sam Wilson played in the past. I will say, there's another thing I'd just like to bring up here, and I think this is really cool that we pivoted here, because originally we started talking about developing product for this movie, and we were talking about doing a Build-A-Figure wave. And I think we really quickly decided that, you know what, instead of doing a Build-A-Figure wave, because really what's going to happen is we're going to end up having to cut some corners here because of the size and the package. Yeah. So rather than doing one wave with one character being a Build-A-Figure and having to do maybe Sam or Falcon without his wings and as many accessories, we decided to pivot into 3 deluxe style items. And I actually think this is such a great turnout for how these things came to reality. I would say I would go toe-to-toe with Tony and Lenny and the G.I. Joe team, because I think these may be the best looking G.I. Joe figures Marvel's ever made.
I like that.
They really are amazing. I've had these for a minute in hand, and every time people come by my office, they can't put them down. So well done, guys. This stuff really came together great.
Yeah, when we did that Build-A-Figure wave, it was our first Disney Plus Build-A-Figure wave that had characters from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and the Loki show.
Yeah.
And so in that wave, we had the Sam Wilson cap as a singular figure, and his wings, because they're so large, were in so many pieces, it had to be the Build-A-Figure for that. And so with 2 winged characters and a massive new Red Hulk, the math didn't really kind of add up as a singular wave. So as Jesse was pointing out, what you see here is 3 deluxe size items, and you just get Cap you get the Cap with his wings and Falcon with his wings. Do you want to, Dwight? Maybe we take this off and show them some of the detail on how these wings are articulated and how they kind of clip in, because I noticed some interesting parts, like they're actually ratcheted too on the inside here to hold the poses. I noticed.
Yeah, we have a couple different. They have some teeth on the inside now, which is nice. That allows the wings to click forward and up, so you can do like flying strike poses. They can drop down if you want to have him just standing more kind of relaxed behind you. And then like we discussed, with them popping up and with these multiple points, you can have them actually fold down, wrap in front of the character to be kind of a human shield, which is kind of cool to deflect projectiles and things coming in at them. Each figure also comes with a standard, I'm mixing teams here, but they come with different shield or different backpacks, so you can have just a standard one, since in the film they fold up into the backpack, so you can have him just as a standard Sam or Falcon, as well as the deluxe versions with the popped out wings.
And each figure too, as I'm looking at the offerings here laid out, each comes with an alternate head. So we have both the mask down flying versions for both Cap and Falcon here. So you get 2 different looks, and then you get 2 different expressions for the Red Hulk. You've got a stoic, we have the angry Red Hulk here, and the more stoic head sculpt there.
Boy, I'm just excited we're doing another Falcon character. My favorite character.
Why do you say that?
Oh, he's just a family heirloom. Yeah, you guys really, the amount of engineering you guys did here was really, really fantastic. I'm excited for people to have these in hand.
Yeah,
and for to hear all the great reactions about the things that you did yesterday and tomorrow.
I know, the future's crazy.
So these
future past.
These 3 items are going to go up for pre-order tomorrow, being October 28th. Tomorrow, October 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we're excited to get these to pre-order these now. They'll be out end of year in advance of next February's film, which we can't wait to see. The trailers have been very intense. A lot going on, high drama, high stakes, and so we're looking forward to the film. And you will have the 3 headlining characters.
You said for
in
pre-order.
your collection. It'll be up for pre-order tomorrow.
Give yourselves a pre-Halloween treat, guys.
Excellent.
Yeah, wonderful.
We are not yet at Halloween,
Right.
time-wise.
And did I celebrate Halloween in my past, future London? Do they celebrate?
Guy Fawkes
do
Day.
They? Oh, thank you.
Guy Fawkes Day. Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament, and they burn an effigy of him every year in London. It's fun.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, and we're going to close out our segment here with a reveal. We can set it up here. So we hear that the fans like teams. They like starting teams. They like adding to teams. They like completing teams. And as part of our Marvel 85th anniversary celebration this year, we had a lot of great comic-based items, including a particular 3-pack of villains, the Cabal team, which had a Iron Patriot figure that was kind of a soft launch into a new team, as we see on screen here. Perhaps it's the Dark Avengers. So you see him up in the middle there. Let's take a look at the figure. This was an awesome update to something that came out many years ago that Dwight and team did. And so we have Norman Osborn as Iron Patriot, but that's not the only Dark Avenger that will be coming out. And so we're going to take a look at a digital render reveal, not the complete item, but just a tease for this special 1027 premium event. Any ideas?
I have an idea.
It's gonna be? What's that?
I mean, that might be a cheat. Should we see if Mr. Falcon here has an idea? Can he remember?
I know what it is.
All right. Jesse, why don't please do the honors?
Folks, what we're talking about here is Dark Avengers Warbird. Can you believe it? It's on this amazing new body, pinless, right, Dwight?
Pinless, yes.
Yeah, and it just came out so great. Well done, guys, honestly. The digital deco, the range of articulation, and the attention to detail looks really fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. This is our super articulated female base. So she's got the arms, the legs, the double torso, scarf.
Double elbows.
Double elbows,
That's
double
right.
pinless elbows. And since we're not talking about the stuff that's not up here, maybe some extra little bits
There
and
might be
pieces.
some extra pieces. You'll have to wait and see, and you will see that when the pre-order goes live on November 7th. This is going to be a fan channel item available at Hasbro Pulse and other fan channel retailers. So go check that out on November 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you like Dark Avengers, that's 2 down and a couple left. Well, there might be.
This is
a few
Moonstone's
more.
Halloween costume.
I like how we're tying it all back around. That's very good. I didn't think of
She
that.
could also wear that to Guy Fawkes Day.
So maybe there might be another Dark Avengers character or maybe several in 2025, but it will start off with the Spring 25 Dark Avengers Warbird. And with that, that wraps up our Marvel Legends segment here, and we just want to thank all the Pulse Premium fans for tuning in to 1027 yet again in the books. Thank you to Jesse for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me, and thank all of you fans out there for being big supporters of this line. It is an incredible feat that this line has been around for as long as it has, and kudos to both of you guys for working diligently so hard every single day on this. And you can see it, the level of quality that you guys execute with, and look at these great engagements that we get to do right here, or like in the future past at your
In the future
Comic-Con, or
past.
the one I got to sit next to you with at your Comic-Con. So thank everybody out there for tuning in and participating and being awesome.
Thanks again. We're actually going to go downstairs and have some more meetings to talk about all this great stuff.
Yeah.
See you guys across the sacred timeline.
Bye, guys.
Bye.